Good morning, everybody. Welcome one, welcome all. About ready to get this thing started. All right, what's going on, everybody? What's up, Rashnish? Chicago up, they're down. What's up, Luke? What's up, Calvin? What's up, Dawn? I appreciate you guys. Hop onto the YouTube channel if you're not on there already. I put the link in there. Let's get this thing started. Yeah, what's up, Tim? Yeah, let's go. Let's do this thing. Welcome one, welcome all, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time. It is NFC North Talk with your host, Russell Wayne. That is me. That's me right here. And it's been a all losing 0-4 week for the NFC North. None of us really have any right to talk crap or anything like that. We are broadcasting live right now, though, into the Detroit Lion news. If you're a Lion fan, right there, let's go through these Detroit Lion news. Thank you so much for allowing us to broadcast into your spot. Our spot is the Detroit Lion Villain Squad. Please take the time, go follow our page right now if you haven't already. If you're a Packer head, right there, Bill the Packer fan, Packer news, all that good stuff. Go follow Bill the Packer fan. All the Bear fans right there, Mike the Bear fan, if there's any of them that are left, good morning to you, each and every one of you. And the Viking fans, we don't have anybody representing the Vikings yet because they've been kind of in witness protection for the entire summer because they kind of know that their team is going to be trash, but maybe not, right? This last week, the Minnesota Vikings have made a couple moves that says that they may still be in this thing and they want to get it going right there. Dalton Reisner, they signed left guard off of the street, pretty good pass protector, and Dalton Reisner, however you want to saw it. And they traded with the Rams and they picked up Cam Akers. And they definitely needed some help. The Minnesota Vikings did in the rushing attack because they have a league worst 69 yards through 2 games. 2 games. That's not a 1-game stat. That is a 2-game stat. They are missing Dalvin Cook or any semblance of a running game there in Minnesota. What do you think about that, Minnesota Viking fan? Or if you just want to troll the Vikings for not having a running game and say, ha ha, we told you so. You lost Dalvin Cook. You lost one of the best rushers in the NFL. You might be able to throw it in there on offensive line, but league's worst. And they add Cam Akers and they add Dalton Risner. Does that make a difference? Does that make a difference? All right. I want to hit that. Oh, shoot. I did it again, Greg. I am so sorry. Greg, I did it again. I did it again. So I am going to invite you in there. I may have a special guest a little bit from And We Know Sports a little bit later, sir. Slap Nasty going to come in the house, maybe, do a little bit of his predictions for the week. And yeah, I forgot. I'm so sorry, Greg. I appreciate you. Thank you for reminding me. I'll throw it right there to you. All right. So here we are. NFC North, you got and those Vikings got to go play the San Diego Chargers this week. And that's an interesting matchup, right? Because I think there's a lot of people that thought that the Vikings wouldn't be 0-2. I thought the Vikings were going to be awful this year, but I did not think that they would be this awful and actually lose to both of the teams that they lost to at the beginning. So them coming in and playing the Chargers, Justin Herbert, I mean, there was a lot expected out of that team. They have a lot of injuries for the Minnesota Vikings and for the San Diego Chargers on the offensive line. So I think this is a very interesting game because, you don't want to start 0-2, right? And here's two teams that were, in some people think that both of these teams could come in and contend this year. The Vikings just won the NFC North last year. For these two teams to be 0-2 is a bit of a surprise. Wouldn't you say that, Greg Rice? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right this morning, Russ. What's going on, brother?
I am doing great. We may have a boat here, man. This is cool. We may get Grove Teague in here, Sir Slap Nasty from And We Know Sports. I know that Main Event Mike's going to be stopping by a little bit later, but this is such a big week of football. So I understand.
Yeah,
I understand. So give me your thoughts on that. I'm kind of stuck here in the Minnesota Vikings versus Chargers. We're starting out with the Vikings today.
Yeah, I like the pickups that the Vikings did this week. I think Dalton Risner, like you were alluding to, Russ, he is a good pass protector. And let's look at the Vikings. They're the most pass-heavy team in the league for good reason. They lost Dalvin Cook. We can just let go of that whole narrative that Alexander Madison is going to step in and do as well or anything even comparable to what Dalvin Cook was. Not happening. Alexander Madison, I look at him in a very similar situation as A.J. Dillon. Looks good when running behind a premier back. When he is your staple running back, kind of mid. So sorry I'm a little bit nasally this morning, you guys. I really do apologize. I got my older series Bose headphones on, so if I'm coming off a little bit, well, just bear with me. But I do like the Cam Akers pickup. I think he does have a higher ceiling. I think this is a guy that's kind of been held back by I don't want to say held back, but not really utilized a bunch or maybe even in the right role with the Rams. I think he's one of those players that kind of just got on Sean McVay's bad side, and we kind of know how that goes. Once you get on his bad side, it's just you're wishing you weren't there so much. So
well, I think that's kind of true anywhere. I mean, you really want to kind of gel with where you're at. And that might be something for him. I definitely think he's an upgrade over Alexander Madison. And I did throw out your reel from the other day when you gave your take on Alexander Madison. That one's out there, so you should go check out the West Coast Stat Master in his reel about Alexander Madison. Robertson in the comments right now. We're going to get to these Packers here in a minute, but I had one more thing. Gronkowski's out there, and he doubles down on this thing that Kyle Rudolph was. He thinks that the Vikings, especially if they lose this week with this, that they should and that they probably will be shopping Kirk Cousins before the end of the year. So this isn't just me running my mouth. I mean, Gronk says this too. Should we just say, screw you, Gronk? You don't like shut up. Get that. Yeah, you're still muted. There you go. Oh no, you're not. No,
I'm off mute. I'm doing well, Russ.
Yeah. What do you think about that? I mean, Gronk coming in, Kyle Rudolph, a couple of these people saying that they should trade Kirk Cousins.
Look, if I'm the Vikings, and God forbid they lose to a Chargers team that just can't seem to get out of their own way, I think they're one of the most poorly coached teams in the league. Brandon Staley, allegedly a defensive guru. At this point, I don't know what to say. This team has put up 58 points, no turnovers committed, and they are sitting at 0-2. If the Vikings somehow find a way to lose this talented Chargers team, I think they're absolutely in sell now mode in terms of anybody with a big contract there. And, of course, public enemy number one would be Kirk Cousins. My issue is, Russ, is just where do you sell him at this point? I just don't remember through NFL history a quarterback of Kirk Cousins' caliber being traded midway through the season. Can
it's
you
so
enlighten
weird.
me? Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know why they didn't extend the guy. It's not even going to hurt him all that much. He probably would have given them a hometown discount and everything but I don't get it. I don't get that they have him. I mean, he's carrying the team right now. So, I mean, it was just something to throw out there. What do you think about that? I mean, I'm not just blowing smoke out my ass. I usually don't like hitting these rumors all too much, like the Derrick Henry rumor. I'm not even going to touch on that stupid. He is not coming to Detroit, guys. Stop that BS. I'm not even gonna do anything with that. But what I can do, since I'm losing viewers talking about the Minnesota Vikings, because there is no Viking fans that are in there, doing anything. It's not like they're watching or anything. So let's move on to the Bears. And that's really a fun thing to think about, that Justin Fields actually comes out and criticizes the coaching. What do you think about that, West Coast Statmaster?
Well, yesterday we had some just a rumor windmill of what was going on with Al Williams, their defensive coordinator. It looked like a raid went down or something. It turns out this looks all falsified. I mean, I was thinking it was the worst. It's a federal raid season stuff. You're reading this stuff online, and always good to fact check, and I'm guilty of it too. Looks like the defensive coordinator resigns. Jalen Johnson came out last week making murmurs of criticism to the coaching. Justin Fields comes out, makes some. This thing is really, really. The wheels look like they're falling off. And if the Bears,
the wheels on the bus. No, I'm sorry.
I want to take the Bears to cover the spread out of just an absolute desperate situation. I don't think they have the talent to compete with the Chiefs, but just in terms of just all pride. This is just a game. If they go out there and they get the brakes beat off them by the Chiefs, you're looking at a franchise in complete turmoil with everything that's been said, everything that's just happened these last few days. And questions will start popping up about Eberflus. I think Poles has done a good job bringing in the talent. They've got almost a year without winning a game. They're all doing some Detroit Lions-like stuff.
So that's a great way to segue into main event. Mike, welcome to the program, brother. And so what I'll ask to that is like, hey, Mike, they haven't questioned Eberflus yet? What do you think about that? Oh,
can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can
you hear me? Sorry, I'm late. I was at a Justin Fields jersey burning party. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
We can hear you, Mike.
Oh, because nobody's laughing at my joke. I don't know if you can hear me.
No, that's because after your joke, you keep on asking me if we can hear you. So instead of laughing, we keep on saying yes. You have a lag.
You have an really bad. I'm going to have to call you back, I think.
Yeah. Try to get on a better connection, Mike. Yep. We're having technical difficulties, of course. Thank you, Xfinity, for coming through once again. We love you, but we hate you. So, I mean, you might have to use the Jay Cutler book of excuses on why my internet doesn't work when I pay for the good stuff. Okay. Anyway, back on a target right here. We were talking about Fields. We were talking about, and was going to ask you, I was like, they haven't questioned Eberflus. I think they've been questioning his coaching, but it was masked with all of the MVP talk of Justin Fields, and now that he's not good, now the glaring thing happens. Oh, wait a minute, it's the coaching, right?
Yeah, the blame game. Blame game's happening, and when you're going into week 3 and this blame game's coming out, and the fans have lost their patience, this is just brutal. And I hate the Bears more than any team in this division, including the Packers, Russ. But I look at it and it's so insufferable just watching them right now. They did get some good performance from their skilled players last week, and some good play from their star players and Trayvon Edmonds and TJ Edwards. Andrew Billings, let's give this guy a shout out. This guy's looking like a hell of a pickup for the Bears. Currently ranked as one of the top 10 defensive interior players graded by PFF. He's had back-to-back great performances throughout the week, but just the quarterback position, Russ. We're looking at a guy. We're looking at a guy with 2 fumbles and 3 interceptions. The guy is just a turnover machine, and you won't win games that way, Russ. And you know that. I know that, and even the most casual NFL fan knows that.
And we've lived that. We're going to try to give Main Event Mike another crack at this right here. How you doing, Main Event Mike?
I'm doing so good. I'm sorry I'm late. I was involved in the FBI raid of the defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears, and I got held up.
That is awful, man. And actually, we have another person that we're going to welcome. We're going to have a little 4-way conversation about these things. Welcome to the stage. I think this may be the second time he's on here. This is Grove T. This is Sir Slap Nasty from And We Know Sports. How are you doing?
What is happening, fellas? How y'all doing?
There he is. And just like in And We Know Sports, and I made a cool little graphic for you. I hope that you like it. And with And We Know Sports, it's just you can just kind of pop in and be part of the conversation right as we're going through this. And we're talking about Justin Fields trying to throw his coaching staff underneath of the bus, man. What do you think about that?
Justin frustrated, baby. I mean, because everybody knows, dude. I mean, and it's been a big spotlight on it as of late, man. If a quarterback does not have a coach when he is coming into the doggone league, it's going to be tough on him, unless he is just a genius quarterback, like my brother out in San Diego. Los Angeles Chargers. Excuse me. Dude. And then everybody's talking about, he ran so much last year, and how come they don't have him running? Man, he was a pinpoint passer in college. We saw what happened to Trevor Lawrence, when he changed coaches as well, so, but you just don't go that far, right. I mean, he's almost kind of like teetering on some other players that we've seen, some other quarterbacks, black quarterbacks that have had some problems with the NFL, and then all of a sudden they're too much of a sideshow, or we can't deal with it. So there's a line that you just cannot cross when you're dealing with the NFL and how they want you to respond and how they want you to deal with stuff.
So you actually subscribe a little bit to the coaching type of thing, because we did watch him at Ohio State doing pinpoint passes, and they haven't used him like that. They've only used him in the other spot, but he hasn't been accurate. I mean, he hasn't proven that he can throw the football in the NFL yet. And this is awesome that I have 4 people on here, because I can actually bow back a little bit, because Main Event Mike is one of the awesomest hosts, and I'm going to get into this producer mode right here and let you guys have a conversation.
Hey, Grove, so good to see you.
What's that, baby?
What's up, man?
So good to see you, man. Go ahead.
First thing I want to talk about is And We Know Sports. Can you give our viewers a little overview what they can expect to see if they go tune into And We Know Sports?
Oh man, you're gonna see Fontaine and I. You know, Fontaine, who is a phenomenal music producer and an MC, a rapper, as well as so many other things that he does. You know, as far as our community and things like that. And we're just kicking it about sports, about football mainly. And we have 4 teams that we pick annually that we're going to watch outside of our Lions, outside of our Chiefs, because we're Chiefs fans. We're Mahomes fans. We love Andy Reid as well. So, but we picked 4 teams. Like for me, in the NFC, I picked the Falcons to watch, and I picked who I call the Commodores. You know, the Commanders. I don't like the Commanders thing. So I call them the Washington Commodores. And then in the AFC, I'm watching Baltimore and I'm watching Jacksonville. You know, and it's just, they're intriguing teams. And you'll hear us kicking it. It's some little humor. You know, he and I are really, really, really good friends, very professional, but we are foes when it comes to our phones. I'm an iPhone guy. He's an Android guy. So we're always, it's going to be some little sneaky little stickling going on. So, and we just have a good time. We pick games. As a matter of fact, the last 2 weeks, both of us have been perfect on some betting cards.
So
we'll put it like
you guys talk about more than just football on the show, though, right?
I'm sorry?
You guys talk about more than just football on the show, though, don't you?
Oh, yeah. We'll get into anything, any particular type of sport, any headline. We discuss the Guinness Book of World Records, record-breaking attendance of the Nebraska volleyball team. We discussed Coco and Joker winning the U.S. Open. We discussed Noah Niles and his doggone opinion about NBA champions being world champions and how he felt against that. We'll teeter on a little bit of everything. We even try to talk about local athletes that are doing their things. Like one of my partners I play football with in Little League, his nephew is Dante Moore out at UCLA.
Woo!
So we talk a little bit about everything.
Man, you talk about UCLA and the Atlanta Falcons. You've got Greg Rice's attention right now. I'm going to tell you that right now.
Yes, sir.
But brilliant minds, baby.
Don't tell me he froze right there. That is the
freeze.
That was the most awful spot to freeze right there. All right. Now I know how he felt.
So you got a segment on your show called Hawks and Hawks. Can you explain that to us?
Oh, wow. Did he come in with demands? Okay. Well, the Hawks and Hawks, the Hawk is the awkward player, coach situation, because Hawk are the acronyms for And We Know Sports. And then the hero of the week, we put that H in front of it and it becomes Hawks. So those are our Hawks and Hawks.
I love it. I didn't realize that was an acronym. I love that.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. So I agree. The Commanders are like the Commodores, but like after Lionel Richie left.
Zoom, baby. Zoom. You like that?
And when does And We Know Sports air, GT?
Every Thursday, 7 p.m. On HighD.TV or on your Roku device. You can find the app as High Dimension Networks. And then we post it up the next day on YouTube too at around the same time, 7 o'clock.
So they can look. They can find you on YouTube and We Know Sports.
They can find us on YouTube at 7 o'clock on Friday.
Okay, that's Eastern time for anybody outside of our time zone. That's Eastern time.
That's right.
So, Grove, I want to jump right into this NFL season. I'm not going to waste any time talking about that dumpster fire of the Chicago Bears or the dumpster fire that is the Minnesota Vikings. I think you agree, right? It's a 2-horse race in this division this year between the Packers and Lions.
Yeah, Yeah, I do. It's Clydesdale and a Pinto.
So, quick question then on this game coming up against those aforementioned Atlanta Falcons. Have you had a chance to see Bijan Robinson?
I'm going to tell you, man, there's a new generation of running back, and like back when I was playing and when I was looking at running backs, from, Billy Sims, Barry Sanders, Marcus Allen, so many. These young cats are able to juke within like a foot. They're right in the scrum, dude. We as the viewers, we can't see it, but they are juking the mess out of people, flying at their knees, flying at their shins, flying at their feet. And Bijan is another level. He is big. He don't look that big, and he's fast. Yes, I have seen him, Mike. He is amazing. He is.
Do you think the Lions will be able to stop him?
The Lions can stop any running back. The one thing that surprised me, I thought our pass defense was going to be so much improved, but our run defense has looked great the last 2 games. We have stopped some very, very good running backs, and our biggest issue will be maintaining that like we have done and just not giving the ball away, So I know we're primarily talking about defense. So, yes, my answer is yes, we can stop him.
Do you see the Lions coming out of Ford Field with a victory on Sunday?
I do. I'm very confident. I truly feel that the 2 turnovers that we gave away hit our young guys really hard in that locker room after the game because we know we gave it away. We gave them 2 turnovers. The third one don't really count. It was an exciting play at the end of the half. But we gave them 14 points basically, and still went into overtime. And a lot of people are not giving Seattle enough credit. I think that's a top 5 offense. I really do. So we gave that away. I truly feel also on the side note that as much as I love him as a player, I think the CJ-GJ thing
5 in the league, or I'll go with top 5 in the NFC.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think in the NFL. I'm looking all around the NFL, and I'm looking at the passing game, the running game. Not too many teams are sweeter than doggone Seattle.
Okay.
Greg Bryce,
you got any questions for GT?
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, GT, I got to ask, man.
Questions?
So, look, yeah, absolutely. GT, so look, man, I'm looking at this Atlanta Falcons offensive line, man. They got some hogs up there, man. And they move defensive lines. And our defensive line has done very well against the run, man. Are you thinking our Lions are going to be able to contain this trio of running backs that I consider the best in the NFL, the best trio? You think our defensive line? I like what our linebackers are doing. They're being able to contain, plug the gaps. Shout out to Derek Barnes, killing it this year. But do you think we're going to be able to continue that trend? At least contain him to around 100, 110, 120 yards, or how do you see it?
I see our defense. I don't believe there's going to be a running back that is going to get more than 100, 120 yards on us all year.
Okay.
All year. You might teeter on 60, 70, 80, something like that. It's a full game. This is the NFL, so that we could get tricked occasionally. Bijan may have a real nice curl pattern or something, kind of like sort of, that pass that Jameer dropped last week. Bijan may catch one of those and take it to the house type of situation, so. And Algier is no joke.
Oh, for sure. Sure not.
People cannot sleep on him. He had 1,000 yards in his rookie year. But, I think we got a strong defensive line that just needs more training on how to pass rush.
Yeah. Big struggle there.
So, hey, G, we saw the Minnesota Vikings last week gave up 175 yards rushing to DeAndre Swift. Did the Lions make a mistake when they got rid of DeAndre Swift?
No. Sometimes the situation don't fit, and you got to move on. The situation didn't fit for us because of his injury situation. It's constantly we went game to game, not knowing if he was going to be able to play, not knowing if he was going to be 70, maybe 75%. So he's healthy now. We've seen him play like that in Detroit. That's going to be a given. Let's see if he can maintain throughout the season. I'm really happy for that brother. I'm happy that we sent him to his hometown. And I was very proud that he was able to get the ball and keep getting the ball. Like a lot of these teams in the NFL are not doing with running backs. You got to keep on giving them the ball. So I'm really happy for him, but I do not think we made a mistake.
But if he stays healthy all year and he keeps putting up monster numbers like that, I mean, what if he goes on to be the next Adrian Peterson and we just gave up on him? Do you think that's a possibility? Does he have that kind of talent?
He definitely has that type of talent. It's just all about being in the moment and being successful. Because with us, he dropped passes also just like Jameer. He dropped important. Jameer's was a slant that could have possibly been a long touchdown. His was a touchdown that he dropped that could have won us a game in his first game.
He was a rookie, G. He was a rookie that year.
As Lions fans, Jared Wilson last year. So was Jefferson before that. I see rookies all over the league coming in and performing. A concentration catch. Yep. You got to catch the ball, especially if that's one of your MOs. Like, and he's got great hands. No. If you saying that, then he needs to catch the ball. So
that's such an interesting take. I don't think us Lions fans are ever going to forgive DeAndre Swift for dropping that touchdown pass in his rookie season.
Yeah. Mike, I don't forgive nobody for dropping passes. As a former wide receiver, I don't forgive.
Oh, man.
Don't drop no more.
I got a topic right here, and this is something we could throw all the way around. So I was reading this article on Pride of Detroit that said that the analysts said that Dan Campbell's coaching decision-making is the best in the NFL, according to these fourth down analytics on how he's going for it and everything. What do you guys think about that? Throw that one around. I don't care who goes out.
Look, man, fourth down is just a myth.
We're going to bite a kneecap off. I've had enough of that shit.
Oh man, but these analytics, like they're going for it and going for it and going for it. We have an aggressive coach. He's got these giant kahunas. Even at the end of the game where we thought we were being really conservative, he wasn't being conservative. He was trying to run the clock down first. That was the number one priority, was not giving Seattle another possession in regulation. Once that would happen, if he got to a certain yardage mark, he was going to punch it in. He was going to be that aggressive guy, but they never hit that mark. That's why they kicked the field goal. But they accomplished what they were going to accomplish. And I read this article, and the analytics, it's so crazy. It's like within 1% of the win rate. If you're successful on fourth down and getting the touchdown out, what's the percentage chance that you win? If you kick the field goal, you have a higher percent chance of getting the field goal, but a less chance of winning the game. And to win the game, it was like 1% in between these two things. I wish I had the information to show you right now, but Pride of Detroit, check out the article on there. It's really, really interesting. What do you think about that, West Coast Statmaster?
Mute.
Preferably with sound, though. I would like the sound.
Yeah. Look, I'm guilty of that absolute casual ass take of when the fourth downs, when he hits it, I'm happy. When he doesn't, I'm not happy. I'm guilty of it. Russ, you touched on it. I was not happy with settling for a field goal on that last drive to go into overtime. I really wish he would have just went for it then. But at the same time, that first half when he was going for it, we didn't get it. I was mad as hell. You got to love Campbell. Just he's gutsy. His moxie, his just faith in this offense. And I mean, what can you say, man? He is the most charismatic coach I think we've had in Detroit since I've been watching, since I've been a fan. So whatever he does in the end, I'm happy. Russ, I look at this Atlanta game as a must-win. And this is an Atlanta team that I spoke to Mike about. I looked at them as a dark horse playoff team in this conference because I didn't think this conference was all that good, man. And so when it comes down to it, I just want to see Campbell continue to do his thing. We just need the results in Atlanta this week, man.
But you're not overreacting in that. What do you think about that main event, Mike? I mean, because I know that you didn't like all of his play calling, but analytics say that he's the best play caller in the league.
Well, are you sure you want my take here, Russ? It's just going to make you mad, but I'll give it
it's
to
not
you.
Going to
make you mad.
Make me mad.
Make it bad.
I'm going to tell you what you said, Russ. You just encapsulated it right there in your little segue in. When you said that he was running time off the clock. And the reason he was running time off the clock is because he didn't want to leave too much time on the clock for Geno Smith to come down and win. Is that correct? In
regulation, yes. He treated it as like at the end of the half, as I want the last possession.
Okay. So I'm sorry, but that is the definition of playing not to lose. That is playing not to lose. When you are worried about giving Mahomes an extra minute on the clock, punch the ball in. You don't have the lead yet. Go for it. You've had giant cojones all game long. Now you get to the 35-yard line and all of a sudden your balls are gone. You give it to Craig Reynolds for a 1-yard gain. Then you throw an incomplete pass. Then you run it for a 3-yard gain. That's your game plan? Come on. No, you played not to lose the game. You knew you were going to take the field goal the whole time because I've seen in my entire life so far in his career. He's getting better. He cost us 2 games last year that we definitely would have made the playoffs. I love Dan Campbell. I don't want to get rid of him, but he's got a lot to clean up. Let's face it.
I like that. And if you allow me to respond to that, like you had brought up something, they got into the 35-yard line and then they ran 3 plays, right? So in his mind, he wasn't going just, I'm going for the field goal. He wanted those plays to work, Mike. And when he had an incomplete pass, he had a 1-yard run. Now, what if that was a 6-yard run, completed first down, and the clock's continuing to run, and he's running his stuff? Once he got inside that 10-yard line, I think it was do or die. He would have went for it on 4th down to win the game or lose the game. But he wasn't close enough. The plays that he picked to run down the clock didn't work, so he kicked the field goal. But I don't think that he went down there with the mentality that I'm going to kick a field goal no matter what. I don't believe that. I believe the man is a man.
He ran off over 30 seconds. He ran off the clock on purpose from the 35-yard line.
Correct. That was the plan. And boy, did you ever wish? No, that's planning to run the clock off and run that play. He threw a pass on 2nd down, man. I mean, man, because he wants. Hey, man, I think that he was playing not to lose. I guess I feel where you're coming from because that's the way it played out. But I don't think that was his mentality. He wanted those plays to work because what if he did get that 1st down? Then you're running a new set. You're running a completely different time frame if he gets that 1st down. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean,
if he gets that 1st down, now he's killed himself by running too much time off the clock. He should have just played aggressive, stuck to his game plan. You always say, Russ, you like Dan Campbell because he is who he is and he doesn't apologize for it. But he deviated from who he is at the end of that game just so that Pete Carroll didn't come and stick a dagger in his heart at the end.
I disagree with that. I disagree with that part of the take right there that he did. His explanation satisfied me because it told me that he was willing to be aggressive up to the point, but not where it was going to cost him the game. When it came down, he was running that time off with those 3 plays that you were talking about. He had to run that time off because that's the only way he could have done that. But if those plays translated into a first down, he would have kept going and he would have been aggressive. And he took that chip away from Pete Carroll and he bet. That was the only way he was guaranteed not to lose. And then he goes in there and he knew his offense was good enough to win in overtime. So he bet on that, and it didn't work on the play spot. But, I mean, there we go. It satisfied me, and it satisfied the analytics.
To your point,
go ahead,
if the Lions win
GT.
that coin toss, if the Lions win the coin toss and they drive down and win, he looks like a genius, and you're 100% right.
Right. So, but to me, I'm not looking at it a win or loss. You're looking at the analytic of the situation. That he gave them the best chance to win the football game with the decisions that he made. The players have to do their part too. But go ahead, GT. You look like you itching.
Yeah, I am because I missed the opportunity before. I want to address all of my bungee jumping partner fans that are just leaping off of the bandwagon after 2 games. Just 2. It's 2 games. Okay. I don't want to dive into the if I coulda, woulda, shouldas either, because we all have great imagination and we can say all kind of stuff. So what I want to say is Dan Campbell understands that there's 17 games, and in every single game, coaches are looking at the films of what he's doing. And for him to have so much color in his variety of play calling, going for it on 4th down, doing a fake punt in the first game. You can't do this every single game because then they'll start really, you'll get predictable. Okay, so yeah, it kind of looked like they were a little too confident, a little too chill on their last drive. Some plays didn't work. Okay, well, we don't want to lose this game. Let's take it into overtime and see if we have another opportunity. Yeah, as a Monday morning quarterback, it didn't look right for Dan Campbell, but I understand. He had a lot of confidence in his team, and they just did not execute properly. So let's go ahead and kick the field goal. That's how I thought. That's how I saw it.
Yep.
And
you had 3 plays. You had 3. I mean, you even listed them off, Mike. 1-yard run, incomplete pass. What was a 5-yard run?
Yeah.
To kick the field goal. I mean, if you would have got,
I don't know.
I mean, if he would have got the first down, shoot, we may be talking a completely different scenario right here. That's a whole new set of down.
His play calling could have been a little bit more aggressive on that drive.
I see it that way too.
And you're right.
That way too.
I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that I'm offering Dan Campbell's explanation of what he saw and what his mindset was, and doubling down on it by saying the analytics. I think that they're closely using analytics on every single one of these plays. They're looking at win-loss scenarios, and he wants to be aggressive. He wants to be on the aggressive side of these decisions that are really, really close, like within 1%. He's just, I'm rolling the dice. And the thing is like, we don't believe in 4th down. It's just an extension of 3rd down. There is no 4th down. There's something to that, but I think it comes down to is man versus man. Like, if we have 4 downs to complete this, just man versus man, we're going to get it X amount of times. And the number is higher than it is for, being conservative and punting the ball and giving them another opportunity. I don't know. I'm not disagreeing.
That number was 1 out of 3.
Yeah, in last game. And in the first game, the aggressiveness won the game for it. So, I mean, you can teeter-totter on both sides of this thing. It's what Dan Campbell is. And what do you think out there? Do you think Dan Campbell is being too aggressive with his play calling? Would you like to see him dial it back, or are you just good with Dan being Dan? If you can expect this out of Dan? Are you good with the Cowboy being the Cowboy? Let us know in the comments. And I have 12 people watching on this YouTube stream on here, and only 5 of you guys have liked the video. If you could please just take the time for a minute, the video that you're watching on YouTube right now, just hit that like button. It helps us out so much, and it's so easy for you to do, and we appreciate you for doing it. All of that. We have to talk about the Green Bay Packers, Mike.
Can I ask Greg Rice a question?
No.
Greg, you're out there on the West Coast. I know you've seen a lot of Rams games. What can the Vikings expect out of Cam Akers, and what do you expect out of Cam Akers in Minnesota?
Well, I think, look, Cam Akers, I touched on it briefly with Russ. It looks like he just fell in the doghouse with Sean McVay. I do think Cam Akers has a little bit higher of a ceiling than Alexander Madison. I think he brings a little bit different of a skill set. As we touched on earlier, Madison is one of those running backs when he put behind a premier back such as Dalvin Cook and comes in for spotty play, he can come in and get it done, much like A.J. Dillon. I think Cam Akers can immediately challenge for running back one, not necessarily this week because he's got to have some time to learn the playbook, but I think he can become their premier back. And we've seen it across the league. Sometimes a fresh start is the best thing for any said player. So they brought in Risner, who's a great pass protector. The Vikings are a pass-heavy team, the most pass-heavy team in the league. So I think Cam Akers does have a little bit of scat back in him. So we'll have to see how it works out. I'm looking at what the Vikings are doing, and it's like they want to be competitive, but I just haven't really seen it yet. So we'll have to see how this all shakes out. They got him for peanuts. So when it comes down to it, I mean, I think it was a good trade. Nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, win-win. I mean, there was really no risk involved. They needed to get him out of the locker room. They really didn't trade anything for him. I think they just swapped like draft picks and like
conditional picks.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. They got it for
in
peanuts.
2050. These guys are going to switch 7th round picks. No, something like that. But I think we lost Mike. And so I might as well just go ahead and plug his show right there. NFC North open mic every Monday night, 7 p.m. Come in, support your team, trash talk your team. Nobody gets to trash talk this week since the NFC North was 0-4. We all lost. Nobody really gets to beat their chest about it. We lost better than you guys lost. That doesn't work for me. I'm not going to allow that on my program. How you doing, G?
Yeah, I wanted to ask Greg also, man, just how fine is McVay's wife? I mean, what is going on? I mean, it seemed like Cam Akers got ditched just the same way the golf got ditched. There was the same rumors going around about the same thing. I too feel that Cam is going to be successful in Minnesota because Minnesota is one of those teams that goes with lightning and thunder, where a lot of teams go with thunder and lightning. You know, so they needed somebody not to replace Madison, just to put him back in his doggone department and replace Dalvin. And exactly. I think that Cam can do that very, very good.
Yeah, I do too. I absolutely do too, Grove. Look, when it comes down to it, most of us have played sports. We get that locker room vibe. Sometimes shit's said in the locker room, and it's nothing personal. It's nothing malicious. It's just guys being guys. Yeah. Shooting the shit, pardon the pun. It's a way of bonding, and whatever was said in there, I'm sure was not done in a malicious intent. And it seems like, to me personally, Sean McVay is kind of a petty guy. And it looks like when things don't go right or things aren't going right, that there's scapegoats and people fall in the doghouse. Often with these teams, they've let a lot of key role players walk off that team. They did win an NFL Super Bowl a couple years ago, but they lost a lot of key pieces since then. Now, Matthew Stafford has been playing lights out over there. They did have a couple picks in the fourth quarter versus them, but Cam Akers wasn't a factor at any point in the season. I think his fresh start, I think it's just McVay essentially just reshuffling everything similar to what he did with Goff to give him some new cards to play with. And I'll just leave it at that.
He's been having conflicts with Cam since last season, though.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. I remember.
Yeah. Wow. That's sad. Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if it's going to help them all that much. I think that, when it comes down to the running game, it is way more about the offensive line. So I think Risner is going to be a way bigger factor in whether the running game is going to work or not. But I don't know. If you don't have good offensive line push, it's not going to work out for you anyway. But moving on to the Packers. The Packers, this is a really, really big game. They're going up against the New Orleans Saints, Derek Carr. They don't have Alvin Kamara yet. Alvin Kamara was suspended for 3 games with that lucky Green Bay team, missing Alvin Kamara by 1 week. But they still have a very good defense over there. I don't think that Green Bay is overlooking that. But what do you think about that game, G?
Woo! At the risk of hurting my partner Fontaine's feelings, I think I truly feel that Derek Carr has been diminishing since 2020. I don't see the same zip on the ball. I was seeing it last year with the Raiders. He's just lobbing some stuff out there, man. And, his demeanor, his body language looks great. It looks good for the cameras, for the team in the huddle. But when the moment happens, he don't look like he know what's happening, And I know that it usually takes the quarterback a good 2 years to get used to an offense. So I'm kind of trying to chalk it up to that. Love is looking efficient. Jordan Love is looking efficient. Not great, but he ain't throwing no interceptions. I think he's number 1 in the league in that ratio, touchdown to interceptions. And their defense has awakened. Okay, they went to sleep last year, and they got a very good defense, So I think the New Orleans Saints are going to be surprised by what's going on with this Green Bay team.
So you got the Green Bay Packers. What do you? I did throw the link out there for everybody for you to join the show. I'm going to open it up to the people too. If you want to come in and have a conversation with GT or West Coast Statmaster or myself. But what do you think about this game, West Coast Statmaster?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I like the matchups here. I would give the swing had they had Alvin Kamara to the Saints. I do like some of the stuff the Saints are doing. Derek Carr and Shadeed. Shadeed was a kind of an up-and-coming wide receiver that kind of went under the radar last year. This guy's killing it this year. I think he might become their wide receiver 1, overtake Michael Thomas in that role by midseason. They seem to be developing a bond. There was a little TikTok blip of Derek Carr just telling Shadeed, look, just go deep and get open in that last game they played. And so they seem to be connecting well. I do see what Grove is saying too. In terms of Derek Carr, just kind of being, we'll see what happens with Derek Carr. I know Saints fans are excited about it. Look, Derek Carr played very poorly last year. I like him and Dak Prescott. Both those guys kind of had just kind of meh years last year. I know Derek Carr's looking to rebound. First year in offense, not sure how much better his stats are going to be. But I think the Saints, based on their defense, can absolutely compete with the Packers. I just think if the Packers are able – I haven't seen their injury report to get Christian Watson as well as Aaron Jones back. I do favor the Packers in this game. I think they just have a little bit more in terms of just overall as Grove touched on. That defense, you guys, looks really good. Don't let their performance last. Look, Bijan Robinson, right now he's graded out according to PFF as the best running back, not only as a rookie, but in the NFL. So, you know what I mean? Don't let that performance of what Bijan Robinson did last week fool you into thinking that this Packers defense is bad. This Packers defense is absolutely good. They have great front 7 rotational depth. Their secondary isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Darnell Savage absolutely got highlighted by Bijan Robinson, but he's played relatively well. So I do like the Packers in terms of this matchup, if I'm being honest, taking all bias out of it this week against the Saints. But if the Saints are able to generate some turnovers, because they do have some studs on defense themselves, Marcus May, will be a big loss for them. I've always liked Marcus May. Did test dirty for PEDs. Will be suspended for a little bit here. I think that could play a factor in their secondary play. But Marshawn Lattimore having a complete resurgent year, never really fallen off, but now he's the top corner according to PFF. So, but I do take the Packers.
Yeah. Right on. And so you got the Packers facing the New Orleans Saints right there. I'm also going to take the Packers in this game. I think the defense is too good. I think Jordan Love is the way that they're running that offense, as long as they protect him in not making him throw the ball downfield. I think that they'll be all right with that run game and everything like that. But what do you think out there? The Green Bay Packers going to play the New Orleans Saints. What do you got? Put the score in the comments right there. You want to troll, put it in the comments right there. But right now in the backstage right now, we're going to welcome to the program. We got Woody. What's up, buddy? What's up,
gentlemen?
Woody?
How are you?
All right now.
Woody is a Bear fan.
Of course.
And so, I mean, we had just been talking about the Packers, and we might as well get into this Bears game right here too. The Bears playing the Chiefs. I know that you're going to be realistic about this, aren't you, Woody?
Absolutely. They're down now. We're down another offensive lineman. Braxton Jones is down, but he had about 5 holding calls in the first 2 weeks. So, but fluctuating. That's what I said at the beginning of the year. Fluctuating that offensive line, you're in trouble. And then you got to go against Chris Jones. You know, it's going to be a long afternoon.
So you're not. I mean, what do you got? What do you got for a score in that game?
I
mean, you're laying 13 points? Is that what Vegas says? You get
it's 12.5, 13. I mean, Packers put 38 points up on us without Christian Watson, and they not 100% Dobbs. So I'm saying it might be like I had my score at 45-13.
Oh wow! So you definitely think they covering if
this is your sure bet suicide team, Kansas City this week. If you can go out to Vegas or bet on MGM, I would definitely pick Kansas City in the points.
Oh man, I hate. And honestly, and you can take that, and I'll give you that, right? But if I'm going to give you advice out there, this is the NFL, and laying 13 points is a lot, and I think that may be too much sometimes. But in this case, you might be right?
Negative. I even asked Darcy last night. I was like, hey, I know Detroit's a whole revamped team. I picked them obviously to win the division. What are your keys to winning against Kansas City? Not having Chris Jones and Kelsey play. I'm like, oh, okay.
That does help.
But when GT puts his hand up like that, I think that it means that he wants to talk. Right there. Go ahead, GT.
Well, the Lions organization had secretively sent the wide receivers a bunch of Crisco oil also, Woody.
Yes, sir.
It just wasn't enough for Kelsey and Chris not to play. We had to make sure that, the wide receivers weren't catching the ball. But I tell you what,
we thought they were.
I tell you what.
Hey, Russell, I remember that game, and I love that game. I remember that game.
I tell you what. The Kansas City offense ain't looking the same without EB, without Eric Bieniemy.
Yeah.
Their offense. I mean, I don't know if Jacksonville was just that sweet last week, and they held them to 17 points or something like that.
Yeah.
I know that Kelsey was on the play count, and he only had 4 catches for 20-something yards and a touchdown or something like that, So he might get a little bit more flow. But what do y'all think about this Kansas City offense without EB? I mean, everybody was saying it was all Andy Reid, but they're not putting up a bunch of points yet.
GT, I got an answer for that. Have you seen the Bears play? Okay. All honesty, I said it last night too on the House Hall Report last night. I'm like, listen, our defense is out there then it feels like 3/4 out of the game. And I don't care what team you are, your defense is going to falter if you're out there way more than your offense.
Yep.
So it's going to be a long afternoon, and we have no depth. I mean, the only depth we have is linebackers, and Eddie Jackson is still, out. Gordon's out. We're in trouble. And I'll tell you straight up, I'm not a homer. I'll tell you straight up. And I'm lucky that I'm putting 45 points on. It might be more.
Well, so hey, let me jump in here real quick. So to allude to what Grove was saying, I got an answer to that question. It's called Matt Nagy. When it comes down to it, I think Matt Nagy is definitely a couple steps down. And I'll say this, Grove, if the Chiefs offense continues to struggle, I can definitely see Andy Reid pulling rank and getting a little bit more involved on that play calling. You're right, man. This offense, I think they put up 24 at the end. I could be wrong, though. Someone want to check that score. I think they put up 24 on the Jags at the end, but the offense has not looked the same. So and I look at the Bears, and look, Woody, I know you're not happy. I know you guys have went through a plethora in the rumor mill this week. I know Jalen Johnson came out last week, said some stuff about coaching. I know Justin Fields said, obviously, his little comment this week. But I look at this team as do or die desperation mode. And usually, I don't care how bad the team is. Matt Nagy, I can't say that he did that with the Bears. But usually this team comes out and gives out an extra effort, man. I take the Bears to cover the spread. If the Bears can play with just a little bit of pride, just make most of it work and just keep the game close. And if they don't, I think your season is essentially a write-off. The blame game comes on. Alan Williams, as we know, stepped down. And I think from then on, it just becomes a complete shit show, pardon my language.
Hey, Greg, and I'll make a little bit of a wager with you. If the Bears cover, I'll have a Detroit Lions profile picture for a week.
Wow.
If they don't cover, we'll talk.
I don't want to take the bet. I'm good on that. I'm good on that.
Good.
All right.
I'm good at that.
So I love the homerism right here. Bear Down Mike thinks the Saints are going to, 30-21, that you think are going to get that like a beatdown. Man, Calvin thinks they're going to win. The Saints are going to win. All these guys picking the Saints, and we all picked the Packers.
Is the game at New Orleans?
I'm not.
It's in Green Bay.
It's
No, there's no way. Kamara, I know Kamara's one more game out, as I'm correct. There's no way. There's no way.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So right there. So those were the predictions for that one. But I do want to know what you guys think on this before we move on to the next one right there. The Bears are giving 13 points. I think that it is by Vegas. Do you think that they will cover that? Because I think that the consensus is that even Bear fans are going to say that they're going to lose this game. But can they get close? And Woody is putting a profile pickup on it right there, that he does not think that he thinks that they will cover that and more. So what do you think? Give me score predictions. Kansas City Chiefs playing the Chicago Bears. Stop Bears. What are your score predictions as we move on to the we didn't pick the Minnesota Viking one yet, did we?
There is an opportunity for folks to do an alternate spread. Okay. Chicago is being given how many points, Russ?
12.5, 13.
You can go in there and put in there 25 at least. Okay. and I'm gonna tell you, when we talk Kansas City, we always think of Mahomes in the offense. Spagnuolo is killing it with the defense.
Yes,
he
is
killing it. And so people think it might be a going back and forth because they're thinking about seasons previously. This is a new defense in KC.
Well, listen. Bears were last in sacks this year. They had no sacks last week and won on week 1. Woo! So hey, listen. If you don't get the quarterback, and especially Mahomes, he's going to have a field day back there. Field day.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to answer this question right here? Bear Down Mike says, Woody, do you think that Larry Bloom will take over or move right over?
I think Larry Borum is going to take Braxton Jones' place and keep right where he's at. I would hate to move a rookie around on an offensive line. I keep Wright exactly where he's at.
Yeah, if it ain't broke, don't fix him. So,
no, and he's doing good. I like Wright the way he's doing good. It's just that Braxton Jones on the other side. Please believe me, penalties kill people and kill these teams. And I feel for, and I know it's probably no excuse. You probably heard it all week. Aiden Hutchinson did get held, and it would have been 3rd and 20 for Seattle. Aiden Hutchinson was held like no tomorrow. Yeah, and I felt for Detroit Lion fans because that screwed them.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to welcome to the program right here. This is a Green Bay Packer fan. This is A-Dub. Welcome to the program.
What's up, fellas?
What up? What up?
A-Dub, long time no see.
Yeah. What's going on, Woody?
What's going on?
So what do you want to comment? Do you want to give your take on the Green Bay Packers? What would you what do you want to hit on what we're doing right here?
Well, to update anybody on anything as far as injuries go, Van Ness, he's still practicing despite his elbow issue, and luckily for us, Christian Watson came back to practice.
Nice.
So there's a good chance. So there's a good chance you're going to see him this Sunday.
Nice.
Yeah, I think Saints have no chance on Sunday. No chance at all.
Oh wow.
Well, the way we match up against that defense, I'm worried about our offensive line against theirs because 2 of our top Pro Bowl linemen are going to be out. Bakhtiari still dealing with a swelling on his knee, and Jenkins with that MCL sprain, he may have a week to recover. So you're going to see new faces on the left side of that line.
Hey, J-Dub, when's Bakhtiari? When is he ever healthy? You can't count him out or count him in. He's not healthy.
Every other week it's going to be questionable. That's all there is to that.
Oh, Bear Down Mike says if Matt Nagy's calling plays, Kansas City will win 24-17.
Hey, didn't Matt Nagy call plays last year and they won the Super Bowl?
I think he called some of the plays. I think he called some of the plays. I think it was still Bieniemy though doing his thing. The majority of the play calling.
It's quarterback coach, yeah.
Yeah, Nagy. God, what do you say about Matt Nagy with Bears fans on the show?
Don't ask me. Dude, I'll tell you how about Matt Nagy. He ruined Trubinsky, first of all.
Yep.
And beginning of Fields. So I don't want to hear that shit. No.
I don't know. Trubisky might have been one of your better quarterbacks in the last. I mean, look at that.
Well, like I said about Trubinsky, he was a very, very mobile quarterback. He can throw the ball. He had those 6 touchdown passes against Tampa Bay. It's ever since his shoulder injury, he grew a vagina and he needed some pads and he was afraid to run.
That's a great breakdown.
Yep.
In that order, he was clinically diagnosed doing that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Oh gosh. With that potty mouth, why don't you go ahead and plug your show real quick?
If everybody wants, it's a great show. Come join us at House Hall Report. You got me, you got Mike the Bear Fan, you got Ken Dobb. We are on Wednesday nights, 8:30. I say Eastern Standard Time because that's the best standard time. And Sunday mornings or Sunday afternoons at 12:30, right before kickoff. And join. And I have my own segment called the Woody Wrap Up. Come join us.
See, right there. If you're a Bear fan, I mean, these guys do it right, man. They're putting out content 365 days a year. They're keeping up on injuries and training camp. They stay active all year long. They do a good job over there. If you're into the Bears,
I am.
I personally follow them, but I never go look at any of your stuff. No, I'm kidding. But we do have the Vikings. This is an interesting game to me. This is a fun one, especially for rival fans to pick, because this is the battle of the offers. This is two teams that I don't think anybody on planet Earth thought would be 0-2, 2 games in. And the LA Chargers against the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings just win. They just win the division. And I thought that, they were going to be pretty good on offense, but they're the lowest rushing team in the NFL. They've only had 69 yards rushing in 2 games together. So you can see why they made a trade for Cam Akers. So let's go around this. This is a huge game. Where is this at? I'm sorry. I'm prepared today.
US
But where?
Minnesota.
It's in Minnesota.
U.S. Bank.
Okay, so it's in Minnesota. So let's start with Woody, since you're up there in the corner. Who do you got in this battle of the offers right here?
Oh man, that's a pretty good offer game.
Yeah.
Chargers. Losing. I picked them to beat Tennessee. Lost in overtime. Cam Akers. He's no McCaffrey learning the playbook on the plane over. That's a tough game. But I'll go with the home team. I'll pick them 20-17.
Okay, so you got them getting their first win of the year at home. Greg Rice, West Coast stat master. You got the Minnesota Vikings bringing in the Chargers, both 0-2. Who do you got?
If I'm being honest with you, I do want to say the Vikings. At the same point, look, the Chargers have put up 58 points, committed no turnovers, and have managed to lose 2 games. There is no NFL seat hotter than Brandon Staley's right now, including Eberflus. Eberflus, I don't think his seat's that hot. Brandon Staley is absolutely on fire right now. This guy's supposed to be a defensive genius. Herbert just keeps putting up great fantasy numbers, and they just keep losing. I'm going to go with Minnesota. I think it's going to be a little bit more of a shootout, though, you guys. I'm going to go with Minnesota 34-30.
I like that.
You like that?
So, Sir Slap Nasty, Grove Teague from And We Know Sports, Minnesota Vikings bringing in the Chargers. Who do you got? Give me a score.
When I see copycat situations of people in America, it reminds me of how corny we are in a lot of situations and how stale we can be. And for that brother's last name to be Staley, he wants to act like this year has nothing to do with last year, which I believe in too. However, it's the same endings.
Yep.
These brothers are going out to huge leads and losing them. That's consistency. That's coaching. Okay? Yeah, you got a different team, but it's the same coaches. So I think the Chargers are going to go out to like about a 20, 23-point lead and then win by 2.
All right, then.
I like it.
I think the Vikings are missing 47-year-old Pat Peterson, man. So,
we're missing a hell of a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Hey, Dub, who do you got? You got the Vikings bringing in the San Diego Chargers. Who do you got, brother? I know it's LA. I'm sorry. I'm just messing.
When it comes to this game, I'm thinking about the way, looking at how do the Vikings match up against these Chargers team. Like, as you say, Chargers, they put up a lot of points. They ain't committed no turnovers, and yet they still find ways to lose because of Brandon Staley.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he has to be desperate to not make sure his seat gets any hotter than it already is, which is why I'm thinking at this point, he has to be desperate to turn things around and want this win just as much as the Vikings would. So personally, I'm thinking perhaps this is the game where the Chargers finally wake up and finally get the win like they should be. So I'm picking the Chargers on this.
Yeah, it depends. Go ahead.
And another reason why I'm picking the Chargers to win is because I still don't have much faith in the Vikings in terms of the defense they have.
Yeah.
Like it still remains to be proved. It still remains to be seen. Is their defense not as suspect as it was last season?
Good point.
I might change my prediction if Eckler is still out. He didn't practice today either. I would change my prediction to Chargers if Eckler plays.
Just a little thing.
Good point.
Just a little note to add to what I was saying. Let's not forget that the Vikings was 11-0 in one-score games last year, and now this year they're 0-2 in one-score games. So we got two teams that have a difficult time winning with one-score games.
Yeah. Agreed.
All right, so I'm going to go out with and they are bringing it in, but I like Justin Herbert. I think that he is one of the better young quarterbacks in the league, and and I'm doubling down on my prediction all summer long, which is I don't think the Vikings are very good, and I think their defense is even worse. I do think they can score points, but I got this the San Diego Chargers winning this game 41-31. So
wow, he said San Diego.
So I want to know what you guys think out there. We're picking these games right here. Vikings bringing in the Chargers. What do you think out there? I do understand that it's not the San Diego Chargers, but they keep on switching. So I understand. I understand it's the LA Chargers, and I picked them to win 41-31. What is your prediction out there? Put the score in there. You got to put it in writing, guys. You can't just run your mouth and pretend like you know stuff. You put it in writing, and then you can show everybody that you were the smartest person in the room. Like Calvin says, Vikings 28, Chargers 27. I like that. I like that call. LOL, we have a top 10 pass defense. I don't know about that. Is that true? Is that true, West Coast stat master?
I have to look at the basic stats on that. If I'm just looking at player personnel, no. I think Harrison Smith's seen better days. Byron Murphy played a little bit better his first game, not so much his second game. I think Brockman could be a good corner, still young, still got some moves to make. Lewis Sean seems to not be getting it.
He's not seeing it.
Yeah, he's not seeing it. So statistically, maybe they are. Personnel-wise, I'm sorry, I don't see it. And when you put players out there, I'd have to check the injury report. But when you're going up against Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, and who's the young Quentin Johnston they drafted, as well as Gerald Everett, that's a pretty good trio of pass catchers right there. So even without Eckler, we'll see if that remains a top 10 pass defense. You know, it's always hard to gauge this early in the season, team statistics and stuff, because we know that these are going to change even more in a couple weeks. So,
and Kirk Cousins is one of the best quarterbacks to release the ball pretty quick. And with Joey Bosa coming at him, he better release it pretty quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he's cut back on turnovers.
Yeah. That Chargers defense looks so impressive on paper. Just to see them just give up all these points. And like I said, Brandon Staley's supposed to be the defensive genius. Got all these great pieces. Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa. You got a good secondary. You got Derwin James. You got Asante Samuel Jr., J.C. Jackson. Like, the names are there. It's just, where's the performance?
Yeah.
But
don't forget, former Vikings are on that defense too, being Dalvin Tomlinson and Eric Kendricks.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Kendricks may not play this week. I think that he's got a hamstring he's dealing with. But go ahead, Woody.
Well, D-Hop made them look like shit last week. I mean, he was playing good. So you letting D-Hop do it. I mean, you got to think Tennessee is where you ruin wide receivers' careers. So it's going to be, I don't know.
What do you think, Grove?
I think the Chargers offense is just a bit too much, man. It's and I love their defense also, but again, you can't do more than what your coaches assign you to do. It truly feels to me that the defensive structure, earlier we were talking about how you play not to lose. That could be an issue with the Chargers defense, but I don't have any problems with their offense. I know Eckler's going to be out, but they got a real nice running back room. And just like what was previously said. Got some sweet receivers and a phenomenal quarterback. So yeah, I think just like I said before, I think the Chargers gonna go out to about 28-3, and then they're gonna win 31-29.
Oh boy, it's like the Atlanta Super Bowl, huh?
Oh, I like that. I like that. So finish. Make sure you get your predictions. Put it in writing. Vikings, Chargers. As we move on to our favorite game of the week, which would be the Detroit Lions are bringing in the 2-0 Atlanta Falcons, and since we ended with GT on the last one, we might as well start with GT on this one right here.
Woo! It's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be yeah. You're gonna have to reach for some knees on this one.
We're gonna buy the kneecap off.
The only difference I see in these two teams, as far as an edge, is quarterback play. I think Ritter is still a little young. He's a lot better than last year, and he's got some weapons. However, I believe their entire offense is predicated on how good their run game and how good their running backs do out the backfield and things like that, which has become somewhat of a strength for the Lions, at least in the first two games. So I think the Lions win a close one. I'm gonna say 31-24.
31-4.
31-24.
Who's winning?
The Lions.
Okay.
Oh,
he's cutting in and out.
Yeah.
That AOL dial-up's not working.
Sorry about that, guys.
Hey, Greg, go ahead. Hey, Greg, I'll host this. I'll host this show. What do you think, Greg?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Woody. Like Grove touched on, I think it's going to be a close game, you guys. Like I said, I picked Atlanta to be a dark horse, at least at minimum wild card team. They had the offseason and don't take offense, it's in a direct shot at you, Woody. They had the offseason that the Bears got hyped up for. How they look, Atlanta was right behind them. They had the second most cap space. I like all the moves they brought in. They brought in this young man, Caden Ellis, who just couldn't find enough snaps with the New Orleans Saints. This guy's like a Swiss Army knife at linebacker. They obviously brought in Jesse Bates, who is your top performing safety according to PFF through these first 2 weeks. And they brought in this unknown factor in a guy that had kind of a down year last year, in David Onyemata, who's actually the second best graded defensive interior player for the league. This guy's killing it alongside of Grady Jarrett and the forever playing Calais Campbell. If the Lions can shut down the run game, or at least contain it, I think we do win a close one. I'll go ahead and go with 28-24. If the Lions cannot shut down the run game and Desmond Ritter's able to use some play action with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, I think the Lions could lose this game by as much as 2 possessions. So I'll give, if the Falcons are able to utilize the run game, I'll give the Falcons the edge at 24-34.
I guess Russell's not back. Hey, Dub, what do you think about the Lions-Falcons?
Well, when I watched the Falcons before, my attitude is like, if you can take the run game away from Atlanta, you stand the best chance to beat them, like the other two just said. Like, Bijan Robinson definitely is a phenomenal guy, the way he runs that football out there. Him along with the others who make up that backfield is going to be very tough and all. And also, with that being said, I'd say my perspective is I think Detroit has every chance to win this game based on QB play. Like, they have the better quarterback, and I'm thinking they have the better receivers out there too. So I'm thinking I give the edge to Detroit to win this game against the Falcons.
All right. I'm back, guys.
Hey, Russell, how you doing? I just took over your show a little bit, and I was the next one to predict. A couple of questions first. Where is this game at?
It's in Detroit.
Okay. Is David Montgomery playing?
No.
Okay. That I think it's going to come down to the rushing offenses. That's just my opinion on that. I mean, the way Bijan's running, and the only thing that's hurting Atlanta Falcons, I'm just going to say this, is Pitts hasn't shown up yet.
No.
When is he going to show up? Of course, I have him on fantasy. That's why I'm asking. But with Montgomery not playing, that's going to be a rough game. It's going to be like I said, a rushing game. I'm going to go again with the home team. I want to say Detroit 28-25.
Okay.
I think Bam is underrated.
Yeah, he. They said that he was. I can't remember what stat he was like. Led the league with Josh Jacobs. Breaking tackles. He's the guy. He's the guy for that.
Yeah.
I don't know who all made a prediction. Did everybody make a prediction on this game?
Yeah, When I took over your show, Russell, everybody gave the prediction, but you.
All right. So I got the Lions winning this game. I think that, after they won in Kansas City, that was nice having everybody talk about them real nice for like 10 days. And we were beating our chests out there. And I think that bleeded into the locker room a little bit. And I think that Seattle gave them a wake-up call. I think that whole team got a wake-up call. And like Dan Campbell had said today, is that they're starting in the mud. We got to go back to the mud. Now we got all that outside bullshit. Everybody doesn't believe in us. We're the worst team in the NFL now. SOL came back out. Now we can go back to work.
Yeah. I was surprised. After that Detroit line, the loss on Sunday. How many Lions fans just like took a crap? Like, oh my God, this is like the end of the year. Blah blah blah. I was like, listen. I mean, you're 1-1. You're still going to win a division. You just got to calm down. I mean, like I said, with my team, obviously I was the only one to the Bears to lose. I picked everybody else to win in the NFC North. Oh, what a homer I am. But yeah.
What do y'all call them? Bungee jumpers.
Yeah, well, that too. But Detroit is, I mean, they're still going to win a division. I mean, it's going to be between them and Green Bay. And I'd still pick Detroit.
I like that. Can I finish my take now?
I'm sorry, sir. I thought I was still running the show.
In the middle of my prediction, and Woody's just like, take over, Woody. He's like, I took over your show. I'll take over your take. I'm sticking my foot right up on your couch. I'm on your couch. No, I think that Detroit got a wake-up call, and I think especially from the offensive and defensive line, I think it is going to play a big factor in this game. And I got Detroit winning this game, let's say 28-14.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
So let me because I don't think Desmond Ritter's very good on the road. I don't know if you go back and you check the stats. This guy is excellent at home, but this dude cannot handle crowd noise yet. He hasn't proven that he can handle crowd noise yet. And I think that he's going to run into a buzzsaw as far as defensive linemen that are pissed off that everybody from the outside calling them and saying that they're soft. So I think they took that personally. And I think you're going to see a different defensive line show up this week.
Yeah. Sorry, fellas. Something else I was going to touch on about that game. Another matchup that intrigues me about this game would be who's going to be the better running back who was drafted out of the first round between Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson. As far as those two in that game. Yeah.
And that whole matchup is going to get determined by whose offensive line is going to be the nastiest and whose defensive line is going to be able to stop. And I don't know, when you're coming off of it, I mean, think of Atlanta here. Atlanta is 2-0. They might actually be drinking a little bit of their Atlanta Kool-Aid right now. Yeah, we better than everybody says that we are. They thought that we wasn't going to be good, and look at us now. And Detroit just got punched in the mouth. Detroit just got deflated back down to reality, kind of like Seattle did in week 1. when they got punched in the mouth by the Rams and they came to Detroit with the chip on their shoulder, Detroit's going to show up in Ford Field on Sunday with a chip on their shoulder, running into a team that I don't know if they're going to be physical enough for us. But I could be wrong. Maybe I'll be eating some crow here all next week.
Eating crow. Okay, Sarah. Okay,
Yeah,
Sarah, we're eating crow.
The Falcons successfully came back on the Green Bay team in the first game, and then they beat a very young and inexperienced Panthers team. So a lot of the two-game statistics on a lot of these 2-0 teams are a little misleading. However, I am very impressed with the weapons of Atlanta as well as their defense. But yeah.
So how many touches do you think Gibbs is going to have, Russell?
How many touches or
rushes because of Montgomery?
I think he gets 10 to 15 carries. And really, I think it's going to piss off a lot of Lion fans because he was drafted at 12 overall, but he's not going to get 20 carries, guys. They're not going to do that. They brought up Bam. Bam Knight is going to do the David Montgomery dirty work.
Yeah, he's going to be the Thunder.
And I think Gibbs will get an uptick. I think he'll get 10 to 15 carries, and I think that they're going to try to get him more involved in the pass game as well. So I don't know. This is going to be cool.
Don't force it. If it don't fit, don't force it. I mean, it's like I believe that the Falcons are expecting that because of what A-Dub was talking about, the comparison between Bijan and Jameer.
Right.
If it don't fit, don't force it. Just fit him in. And we do need to be a little bit more imaginative when it comes to getting Jameer in space.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have – I don't know if he's going to have 10 to 15 carries, but I know he's going to have 10 to 20 touches.
Yeah. Yeah, in whatever fashion that would come in right there. So this is your last chance right here, throwing those predictions into the comments right there. And we'll hit it again tomorrow too when we're on here. We'll see. We'll get some of these predictions. But this is Prediction Thursday, and we want to make sure that we can get everybody out there. This is after the injury reports are out and everything like that, and then you can get your predictions. Put it in writing. Don't just be the guy that runs his mouth. Put it in writing, and that way you have something that you can reference back to. And yes, you got an amen in there. Amen in there, Grove. But we're up against it here at the end of the program right here, and this is where I'm going to give everybody a chance to do their thing. I know I let Woody. Let's start with you, and then we're going to go around the table here, and I'm going to close everybody out.
Again, House All Report. Come join me, Mike the Bear Fan, and Ken Dobb. Wednesdays, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and Sundays, 12:30 p.m. Right before kickoff. Come join us.
Boom. And then we got Bill the Packer Fan representing all you Packer heads out there. Yeah. Oh, did I lose? We didn't. Oh, there. Okay. I almost lost GT there for a second. Bill the Packer Fan, all your Packer news, all you Packer heads. I love the Green Bay Packers. This is your guy. He is our Packer representative for the Main Event 365. We are the Detroit Lions villain squad. Yes, we do want to spoil all of the thoughts that the Lions are the same old Lions, and that's why we the villains. You want to join the villain squad? Follow our page right there. And then right here, our special guest. Let me find it right there. We got Sir Slap Nasty. You want to actually, you know what? I have the real thing. I have a nice little thing right there. Hold on a minute. Dang it.
Uh-oh.
I'm doing too many things, man. I got too much stuff going on, GT. Right there. Go ahead and plug your show, man. Boom.
Hey, y'all can kick it with me tonight. 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we know sports. Me and my partner Fontaine, we're going to kick it about last week's results. We're going to try to chill Lions fans out. We're going to talk a little bit about that Colorado State rivalry is what I call it. And kick it with us tonight on www.hightv.tv or on the Roku on the High Dimension Networks. And
you on Roku?
We replay it on YouTube at 7 o'clock tomorrow on Friday.
Oh, wow. This has been awesome having you on here, GT. It's been awesome having you on here, Woody.
Always fun.
Bear down.
And A-Dub right there. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. The people, we appreciate you watching on there. If you're watching right now, throw a like on top of that video right there, because that only helps us. That's absolutely free. It doesn't cost you anything to do that. So from everybody that's out there, that's in Facebook land right now, that's watching right now, we really do appreciate each and every one of you coming in here every day and joining us for NFC North Talk with your host, Russell Wayne, at 11 a.m. Eastern every single day. God bless each and every one of you, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning.
Bear down.
All right. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. NFC North Talk with your host, Russell Wayne. Don't forget to like this broadcast from wherever you watched it. Liking is free. Put a comment on there. Tell us what team that you represent. If you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, here's a link to our broadcast today. Throwing that in there for you. Thank you so much.
It's not fair. They were so happy. It's not gonna be okay.
What's going on, Russell Wayne and the Main Event 365 Network? This is Jason Kabinda from the Detroit Lions. Here to give y'all a shout out, man. We appreciate all the support, man. Know you guys are big fans. Know that you guys are rooting for us to take the North this year, and we're going to do just that, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Just want to give y'all a shout out. You have a great day.